Sorry. Okay. So, Sudarshana is considered to be or is the weapon of Lord Narayana. Lord Narayana holds Sudarshana on his right top hand. Why? Because Lord Narayana is always protecting his devotees, and Sudarshana does this job for him. So when the Lord holds the Sudarshana in his right hand, only because the it's more easier for the Lord, or it signifies the protection of devotees. Many devotees worship Sudarshana for the sake of protection from the evil sources, or from black magic, or from any other difficulties they are facing due to bhutas, pretas. So Vaishnavas basically worship the Sudarshana Murti to seek protection. Vaishnavas also worship Lord Hanuman as well. Just like in the other sects, devotees worship the form of Shakti, like Pratyangira Devi and or Rudra's form, to cast off the evil or the to effects of black magic. But in the Vaishnava Sampradaya, we surrender to Sudarshana to protect us. Now, regarding the appearance or the birth of Sudarshana, Sudarshana is an eternal weapon of Lord Narayana. That means he is holding this weapon always from eternity with him. Just like Panchajanya, Padma, they are also the eternal companions of the Supreme Lord. However, to give credit to his devotees, Lord Narayana enacts pastime in a way that these weapons have been gifted to him. So there are two versions of this entire Leela, or the appearance of Sudarshana. The first one being as per the Padma Purana. So in Padma Purana, it is mentioned that the Sanghya, the daughter of Vishwakarma, had married Surya Deva. Unable to bear the heat of emanating from Surya Deva's body, she leaves him and then approaches her father. Of course, as our olden days, the married woman would not be living in her father's house after marriage, so she leaves her father and goes to another place called Kurukshetra, or the Kuru region, where she was actually meditating. Now it so happened that Suryadeva, when he got to know that Sankhya was missing from his house, he approached Vishwakarma. Then Vishwakarma reveals to Suryadeva that due to his excessive heat, or she was not able to stay with Surya. Even she could not see him properly because of the rays emanating from his body. For this reason, Vishwakarma requests Suryadeva that if you wish, I can reform your form. So Suryadeva agrees, and then Vishwakarma starts beautifying the form of Suryadeva. So when he was beautifying these form, from these sparks emanated from his body, and out of those sparks, the 11 Rudras were formed, or sorry, the Dwadasha Adityas were formed, and then from the remaining the heat, or from the remaining effulgence of Lord Surya Deva, Vishwakarma created a disc-like weapon which he gifted to Lord Narayana, and which is called as Sudarshan. The second pastime is mentioned in Mahabharata itself. So when Agni Deva, he approached Arjuna and Krishna near Khandava forest. So in Padma Purana also there is a wide description of the Khandava forest. Khandava forest is nothing but the olden name of Indraprastha. So because Indra gave in donation the prastha. Prastha is the quantity, or the weight. It is basically the measurement of weight. So because he gave a prastha in donation during the sacrifice at that particular place called Khandava forest, in that is why that place is called as Indraprastha. So in Indraprastha, when at that time it was Khandav forest, So when Agni Deva approached Lord Krishna and Lord Arjuna when they were together, that so at that time, Krishna allocated the Khandava forest for Agni to devour. So after Agni ate of the entire forest, Agni was very pleased by the action of Lord Shri Krishna, and then Agni Deva he gives Sudarshana to Lord Krishna. So this is the second widely accepted pastime of how Sudarshana appeared. And Sudarshana always remains in the company of Lord Narayana or in the company of Lord Sri Krishna. And you must have heard various incidences with respect to Sudarshana. So Krishna uses a Sudarshana to kill Shishupala, and then Narayana uses a Sudarshana to kill demon Hayagriva as well. So there was a Rakshasa by name Hayagriva. This is the third accepted incident of the Sudarshana's birth, or how Lord Narayana got Sudarshana. So Lord Narayana killed a demon called as Hayagriva on the top of Chakravana forest, and after killing that Rakshasa, Lord was given this Sudarshana. He actually took Sudarshana Chakra from that Rakshasa and held this Sudarshana always with him. Now, when Sudarshana is, as I was mentioning, that Lord uses Sudarshana to during various times to kill various Rakshasas. You must have also heard about Sudarshana chasing Durvasa Muni when he had offended Amrisha Maharaj, who had by mistake into the water to break Ekadashi before even serving Durvasa Muni. So many Puranas also mention that the rays of Sudarshana, they when they enter the neither a planetary system. So there are 14 planetary systems in this universe, seven above and seven lower. So the seven lower planetary system don't get the sun rays. So when Sudarshana basically he moves around the entire universe, protecting this entire universe from the evil forces, but many a times he does not enter the nether worlds. So when even his rays touch the nether worlds, the wives of demons living in that place, they have miscarriages due to the fear of Sudarshana. So Sudarshana is such a fiery weapon of the Lord. Now, the when the personification of Sudarshana is concerned, the Sudarshana Chakra is worshipped in many South Indian temples in all over Tamil Nadu, some temples in Karnataka, and some temples in Kerala. And in Andhra also, in some temples, Sudarshana is worshipped, and he is worshipped as Chakrat Alvar. So now, Sudarshana has his forms are worshipped in two ways. So in some places, Sudarshana is worshipped in Sodashabahu form, having 16 hands with him. And in some temples, Sudarshana is worshipped in the Ashtabahu form. That means 8 hands. Now, Sudarshana in the Shodashabahu form is basically the Ugra Swarupa, and the Sudarshana with the Ashtabahu forms is the Soumya Swarupa of Sudarshana. So, this is how he is basically depicted in the form of an iconography in the temples across the land of Bharat. And a few temples, see, basically the Simhachalam temple has Sodashabahu form of Sudarshana, and in the in that temple, this is the Balibera of the Lord Narasimha, or Lord Narasimha in Simhachalam, and he presides over many functions in the temple. Even in Tirumala, Sudarshana worship is very prominent. We can all see this Sudarshana worship, especially during the Brahmotsava, where Sudarshana is given holy bath in the Pushkarani of the temple during the event called as Chakrat Snana. Sudarshana is the main. There are not many temples many temples dedicated to Sudarshana. There are only very few temples which are dedicated to the Mula Vigraha of Sudarshana. However, many temples or all the temples have a Utsava Vigraha of Sudarshana present inside the Garbhagriha of the temple, and he receives the worship after the Lord is worshipped. In many temples, like in Kanchipuram, you can see the Chakratalwar Perumal. He is worshipped in a separate Sannidhi. And in Srirangam also, Chakra Talwar has got a separate Sannidhi. Then in the Tirumogur temple, that is near Madurai, Tirumogur is one of the Divyadesham's temple. He has got a separate Sannidhi. Even in temple called Kapisthalam, near not mm, yeah, Kapistaram, that is near Tanjavur, there is a separate Sannidhi for Sudarshana. Recently, in the temple called Jagannath Mandir in Bangalore, in Vasantapura, there also Sudarshana has got a separate Sannidhi, which is a recently installed Pratishtapana has been done in the temple. Now, prominently, you can also see Sudarshana in the Jagannath temple. In Jagannath temple, Sudarshana is worshipped in a very interesting or very mysterious form of a log. So you can see, although the forms of Lord Jagannath, Baladeva, and Subhadra, they themselves are quite mysterious. And then on top, on to add to the mystery is the form of Sudarshana. Now, Sudarshana here is in this particular form only for the reason that Lord Jagannatha wanted to show the supremacy of Hanuman's humility. So once it so happened that he requested Sudarshana to stand as guard to his Garbhagriha, and then in his mind he remembered Hanuman. So when Hanuman comes, Sudarshana is there to stop him at the door, and he says that the Lord is in Ekanta and you cannot go inside. But Hanuman says that the Lord has invited me to come, and definitely he has invited me for some service. But Sudarshana denies him the entrance, and then Hanuman he basically overpowers Sudarshana, and he moves inside the temple. Now to make Sudarshana remove his pride or ahankara, the Lord made him in the form like a log. Sudarshana is basically correct. In one of the prayers of Rig Veda, Sudarshana is mentioned having 108 spikes around it, like sharp edges surrounded by 108 points or spikes. In some of the Shastras or some of the Puranas, he's described having thousands of spikes and radiating enormous heat when he is actually moving across the universe. So this is how Sudarshana is portrayed in many temples. And of course, we see that only one part of Sudarshana, that is the front, the personification of Sudarshana with Jwala Prabhavali around him. But behind Sudarshana, there is always the presence of Narasimha, who is seated in the yoga form above Anantashesha and holding in his four hands chakra. This is basically Sudarshana being the furious weapon of Lord Narayana cannot be controlled very easily. Therefore, Lord Narasimha he sits always behind Sudarshana to control him or to keep him under restrictions and to release him only when he is required to perform his duty as per the instructions imparted by Lord Narayana. So today is the divine appearance day of Sudarshana, and this is all about Sudarshana, the eternal weapon of Lord Narayana or Lord Krishna, which is generally used by the Lord to protect his devotees. So let us take shelter of Sudarshana to ward off all the evil effects on this planet, especially from the ongoing pandemic, which has created fear in the minds of people around. Let us also pray to Sudarshana to give us protection and protect our devotion to Lord Narayana so that we have unflinching faith and unflinching devotion to the lotus feet of Lord Narayana. So, with this, I end this talk about Sudarshana and Sudarshana Jayanti. Thank you. Hare Krishna.